Welcome to the Midgard Press. My name's Jay. So, we've been skipping it, but here we are. Time to talk about some orcs. Now, as you all know, the orcs are more of a NPC, it's not a player character race because they don't allow for that within Dragonbane at this moment. It could easily be something that is included in a much later supplement or a third-party option, but potentially. But as of this moment, orcs are part of the Nightkin. They are a non-playable character, so that means an NPC. And as an NPC, because they're not monsters, they don't automatically hit. They do not. They have to roll to hit, and that's why you have three examples right here: warrior, shaman, and chieftain. The warrior, you got a scimitar, skill level of 12, shaman, a staff, skill level of 10, and a chieftain, 2 scimitars, skill level of 16. Now, one thing that I have not really fought against yet within or even used is the shaman. The shaman actually has spell casting, which I think that would be quite interesting to play against your NPCs, not your NPCs, the player characters, your players, the adventurers. There's not really that many spell casters. Now, we haven't gone through. Actually, that'd be a great idea. We're going to do that. Next episode, we're going to go through the other monsters, the other NPCs that you will potentially encounter within Dragonbane if you decide to run more of the modules, more of the adventures. And you'll see what we have going on, but we'll go ahead and cover, like I said, the orc today. And as an interesting idea, because the Nightkin, they avoid sunlight at all cost, because as it says down here at the bottom, they're nocturnal. And indirect sunlight. There we go. That's the word. They get a bane to all rolls, whether it be skill checks. Well, that's pretty much everything you would have them do is a skill check. So yeah, and they suffer damage per stretch. So they don't like this direct sunlight. That's why in the Misty Vales, because it's misty, it's not direct sunlight. Now, granted, sunlight might pop through randomly at small moments and whatnot, but for the most part, it will be completely covered within a veil. And that's why you can always potentially encounter orcs anywhere within the Misty Vales. Now, that being said, I think it'd be an excellent idea to have a small raiding party led by a shaman, because those that have played the actual modules or are running running an actual campaign within the Misty Vales, that Maladuke, she is an orc chieftain who has 2 lieutenants under her that are trying to not necessarily work with your player characters, not necessarily work with your players, but they don't exactly want the demons to win either. They're quite comfortable where they are. Granted, they're not as comfortable now. All the player character races are coming back between the humans, the dwarves, the elves, the halflings, the wolfkin, and the mallards. But how interesting would it be to have a small warband of orcs who love the demons, who work for the demons, work with the demons? You could easily create a shaman or a chieftain if you want to. Maybe not have so many abilities, maybe take a couple away, but maybe I think a shaman would be fun. Put a shaman, a couple warriors in there as a small raiding party, small war band, traveling across the Misty Vales, causing your players problems everywhere they go. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to yes, facilitate a fun environment for our players. But come on, let's face it, as GMs, we're here to have fun and poke at them and prod them. That's what we do. So creating small war bands like that, because orcs, I mean, pretty much most settings, they are the bad guys. And again, I'll reference Warcraft because I love Warcraft. The very first one was humans versus orcs. That's just how it was. Orcs were the bad guys. And I'm not saying orcs have to be bad guys, not at all. You could easily create a small party, a small war band of orcs that are there to tag along with the party if you want. You could create a small, oh, here you go. Here's a good scenario. And we could include one of the monsters from a couple days ago, the Griffin. So let's say your party is traveling through the Coomer Mountains or the Dragonfang Peaks. One or the other, it doesn't matter. But as they're traveling, you should have a group of griffins attack the party, and you should have 2 or 3 of them. A abnormal amount of griffins attacking the party, because 1 griffin enough. 2, they may be able to get through that. 3, they're not getting through that. They're not getting through 3. But this makes the party draw to cover, makes them go into a empty cave system. You could easily make a group of orcs within the cave system, and the players have to figure out how to work with your party. Like the players have to work with the orcs to survive this encounter with the griffins. That would be a fun little scenario. Will they ultimately just destroy the orcs and then they have to figure out how to fight the griffins on their own? Or will they actually listen to reason and maybe work with the orcs to fight the griffins? Now, if they do decide that, they defeat the griffins, what are they going to do afterwards? They just became successful. In orcs, it says right here, orcs are extremely honor-oriented. If the orcs do battle alongside your player characters to fight off griffins, I mean, the orcs would boldly look at your player characters as heroes as well. They would honor the fact that they spilled blood together. They would by no means want to challenge your player characters after that. So would your player characters, as you all make camp, try to slice their throats in the middle of the night? Interesting concept. Who knows? We'll see. So just a quick one about orcs. Goblins and orcs, they're in every fantasy setting. Low fantasy, high fantasy, it does not matter. They are in every fantasy setting. So yeah, like this video, comment down below. Tell me, what would you do? What kind of scenario would you present your players with orcs? Would you do something along the same lines that I just mentioned, or go a different route? Let me know down below. And of course, share this video. As always, my fellow nerds, live on and game on.